He was born in Serengeti, Tanzania, 71 years ago. His parents were missionaries. He became a missionary too and served in Kenya's marginalized areas, including Samburu and Turkana, for over 20 years. I'm talking about Pastor Dale Beverly, who relocated to Portwin in Kansas State together with his family. Pastor Dale speaks Swahili and Turkana. Well, today's show is about a family that is passionate about Africa. Yes, they served in Kenya for many years, and when they relocated to the US, Africa literally followed them. Pastor Dale and Suzanne normally host the Kenyan community every 4th of July for a come together, and I've been lucky to attend this event together with my team from Chams Media. And we begin the show by tracing Pastor Dale's daring journey in Africa. Ujambo?
Sijambo.
Namna gani? Uko mzima?
Kabisa.
Kabisa.
Mzima kabisa.
Umekunywa chai?
Chai, tulikuwa kunywa chai. Alafu tulikuwa na pancake.
Pancake. Mayai.
Mayai.
Give us your life history, like where were you born? When was this?
I was born in 52.
In 1952?
1952. My parents were missionaries with Africa Inland Church, and they came out in 1951. And so we lived in Tanzania.
You were born in Tanzania?
I was born in Tanzania. And then I went to primary school there up until 66. And then I went out to Kijabe
in Kenya,
for my standard 6 all the way up to Form 4.
Then
I came back after Form 4, came back here to America to stay with my grandmother, who was living in Arizona. Then I also went to college, to seminary.
Seminary. So you are already following the line of your parents, taking
right.
Missionary work.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Then
in 78, I was married to Suzanne, and we came to Nairobi. We became missionaries to go to Turkana area.
He was born and raised in Africa, so he was wanting to go back as an adult to be a missionary. So when we met, that was a mutual desire. And so after we married, we worked at getting the credentials that we needed to go over. And then we went in 1978 to Turkana for the first 7 years we were there. And then later we moved over to the Samburu area.
We were around the lakeshore. We had 8 churches that we were responsible for. And those were very, very good memories. And many people accepted Christ. There were dust storms every day where we would sweep out dust from our house that collected sometimes like 5 pounds of dust. And every day we had dust storms.
Wow.
But, you know, after being there, you know, the Lord made it so that we love the people. The place is not so important, but the people are important. And that's where we fell in love with the Turkana people. And God used that and caused us to love the people and to love the place.
Kiswahili ulijifunza ukiwa katika kazi ya missionary?
I grew up learning Swahili when I was a little boy. I also grew up learning another language called Kijita.
Kijita?
Which is on Ukerewe Island, and Kisukuma.
Kisukuma ni huko Tanzania?
Yeah, huko Tanzania. Then when I came over to secondary school, of course was in Kenya, and the language started to fall away. Anyway.
And Turkana pia unaongea?
Yes, when we went to Turkana, I started full-time into Turkana. That's why I know a lot of Turkana. I can hear it.
Kiswahili sasa hakuna mtu anaweza kusengenya? Hakuna? Unaelewa mzuri?
Si mzuri sana,
sana
but I can understand it much better than I can speak it.
Kiti,
Yeah, this chair,
viti,
viti, yeah.
meza,
meza,
mahindi.
mahindi,
Umepanda mahindi naona mingi sana. Ng'ombe.
ng'ombe,
Na Kiturkana.
Turkana,
Ejok.
ejokonoi,
Mata.
mata noi, mata lokitoi, mata ngirion.
Mata ngirion.
Yeah.
And how do they say Jesus in Turkana?
Yesu.
Yesu. Mungu. God.
Mungu akuj.
Akuj.
Yeah.
And that seat meant
Ekicholong.
Ekicholong. Naona unajua kweli.
And often we would say when they're wanting food or something, nakanai akumuj. I want food.
Nakanai akumuj. Aha.
Nakanai akimat. What I want water.
Sasa ati unajua wimbo ya Kiturkana?
Haya,
twende.
Ngaya pedori akingaraki. Ngezi Yesu, Yesu chamita kingaraki.
Imba Loren.
Nirwadana kimina ingon ngake koto elondo narete Yesu, Ngezi Yesu chamita kingaraki. Nirwadana kimina ingon ngake koto eloto narete Yesu,
Ngeki Yesu. So how was it then those days operating in Lodwar?
I've used lorries because when I would go back and forth to Nairobi sometimes, I would get a lorry in Calico and I would travel all the way to Kitale and then I wait for another lorry. Nowadays there's matatus and everything, but back then, no, it took a long time. When we came back in 2002, we weren't really sure of what would happen. We needed to take care of Suzanne's mother and father, and they lived over there. And so we came back. I left a good ministry in Nairobi and in Kenya, and I was wondering what would happen here. I didn't know that Kenyans lived here, and so I was actually in fear and trembling, leaving something that I knew and loved. And then when I got here, I went over to Butler Community College, and I started asking if there were students from Kenya. And they gave me a list, and they said, there's students here. And so I made phone calls to all of them, and also to Wichita State, and I found that there were students there from Kenya. So then I said, the very first goat roast started in 2002. I went out and invited them to come out and eat goat at our place. For the last 4 years, it's been 4th of July. We just have one big event, but before that, we used to have 3 events. And that's how I started getting more people.
It's just a wonderful place just to enjoy each other. If you go to a park, like in town, there's other groups around you, and so you're not free to entertain yourselves as you would want to. So we have this event, we love it. Like last night, maybe we were 150, 200 people, I don't know, because we didn't really do a head count. But they come, they bring potluck, and we butcher goats to go with it, and we call it our nyama choma. The first one, nobody knew who we were, so there were only 12, but we're still fast friends with those 12. We had just a wonderful time, and we've had them for 20 years now. We only do 1 a year now, where we used to do 3. So it was more aimed for college students at that point, and I did all the cooking. But now that we are opening it up more to families as well as college students, the families help by bringing food in as well. We have not only our big goat roast and food, lots of food, but we also go and we have different interactions with our neighbors. Like our neighbors are farmers. A neighbor closest to us last night brought his high-tech planter and big tractor for everybody to see and climb over and hear about. So we do that, as well as then we have fireworks and sometimes a drawing for prizes and some things like that. After sharing about the implement, usually Pastor Dale has some message that's connected to that. So every year when there's a different implement, he changes what he speaks on.
My wife says, you know, we were worried about leaving Kenya and we were coming out of Africa, but when we come here to Kansas,
You created your own
Africa came to us.
Oh, Africa came to you.
To us.
And they keep coming
Kenya
to you.
come to us.
Wow.
So-
And like looking at that event, it was all Kenya, it was all Africa, not just Kenya.
There were Tanzanians.
I met people from Tanzania.
Yes.
I met people from Burundi.
Yes.
I met people from DRC. I met even someone from Togo.
Oh, my.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes. So you've brought Africa to your compound.
And that's how we want.
And that makes you feel like you're not
No,
missing
like I
Kenya.
never left.
That you never left Africa.
That's right.
Coming out here is just a matter of, as a community to know each other and also mingle and know how people, go along. But it's pretty good thing to be doing this every year.
My husband and I and our 3 kids, we came for the first Nyama Choma over 20 years ago, and that's how we met him. And we have had a very close relationship with Pastor Dale.
Experience ni nzuri sana. Like, I wish people from where I came from Burundi, they do the same thing like this, But we don't have like a big community from Burundi. Yeah, hii event iko sawa, nimeipenda. Yeah, nimefurahi sana, nimekula chakula ilikuwa tamu. Nikula sambusa, chapati ilikuwa tamu sana.
I came here several times, a couple years ago, and as recently as last year, and it's kind of bringing us together. We kind of enjoying having home food, meeting with the Tanzanians and Kenyans, and just having fun and get together for 4th of July.
We come to the farm, we relax. It's more like a relaxing place. We socialize with other Kenyans, and at the end of the day we do fireworks and then we go back.
What a reconnection with the Kenyan community in Kansas State, thanks to Pastor Dale's hospitality. And on that note, we take a short break. When we return,
The motivation for me was to work myself out of a job.
how Pastor Dale and Suzanne were able to transition from missionary work in Kenya to farm life in the US. Welcome back. Now, in part 1 of this show, we traced the journey of a daring American missionary who was born in Tanzania, but later served in marginalized areas in Kenya, including Samburu and Turkana, for over 20 years. He later relocated to the US. We are now joining him in his farm to understand how he's been able to transition to farm life. Nice corn, and it's all same size.
The same size, yes. Oh, man.
How is that achieved?
That's with his planter. It's very detailed and computerized. He
It's
was telling
computerized.
me, he says as it goes along, each wheel senses how much pressure to put the seed down. And it puts it down at just the right level.
Okay.
That way, everything is coming up straight. You want to take one off?
You want?
Yeah,
Am I allowed to take
yeah,
it off?
Take it off.
Okay.
Take it off.
All this is for animal feed.
Yes, this
It's
is
not
for-
for
for-
human consumption.
It can be for human consumption, but humans do not eat this particular type of corn.
This particular type.
Yeah,
What?
this is yellow maize, and it will be used for cattle feed.
Cattle feed.
Cattle, hogs. But look how beautiful it
It's
is.
beautiful. You got good rains.
Yeah, we got very, very good rains, and we get an inch at a time, a half an inch. Every week we get some good rains. Notice how they're spaced so evenly?
Yeah.
Keith was telling me, he says that machine is just putting it down at the right spot, at the right pressure, and it gets.
So for you in your farm, how big is your farm?
Our farm is 125 acres.
Your farm is 125.
Yes.
It goes down.
It goes down to the river.
There's a river behind.
Yeah. I'll take it down there.
We should see the
Yeah,
river.
the river
at
is
some
there.
moment.
And then it goes to the south and to the north.
So
It's
what is on
120.
the farm? We've seen maize. Yes. What else is on the
The
farm?
only thing is on here is maize now.
Maize.
Yeah. Last year.
Last year, I saw you planted some beans.
Yes, they were beans, and they did not do well.
But I saw they were all green and nice. Eh?
They didn't do well. The rains shortly after you left stopped.
Oh, it became dry.
It became dry.
You had a drought last year.
Yes.
All that green beans I saw went to waste.
Yes, went to waste and was left. Insurance people came out for Keith. They looked at all the beans and they said, "We'll just give you insurance money." He said, don't plow, don't try and harvest. It's going to cost you too much to harvest.
So what else is on the farm apart from the crops?
Just the
some
crops now.
livestock.
We don't have any livestock.
No livestock. I saw some guinea fowls.
We have 6 guineas, and we keep them for to keep down the insects, grasshoppers, and so on. I used to have many of them, but now we only have 6 left.
Okay. Then what's in your neighborhood? Who stays around you and what do they do?
Okay, our neighbors, Keith is over there to the east of us. He has a big feed lot, and he fattens 10,000 head of cattle.
10,000?
Yes,
Cattle.
cattle.
So on his farm, if we go now, we'll find 10,000
Yes,
cattle.
you'll find 10,000.
He specializes in fattening.
Yes.
So his area is beef cattle farming.
Beef cattle.
Wow.
And that's why he was interested in leasing our land, is because our property is close to him, and he can take all the corn just over there.
Yeah. So he leased this to plant corn as animal feed for his cattle.
Animal feed. The beans, they were for selling on the open market, but that didn't happen last year. And then the wheat goes into the open market. The corn always goes for cattle. And if the corn's not doing too good, they come along and they cut everything for silage. And so he takes it, he grinds it up, and puts it in silage.
Missy, Missy is always
She's always there with us.
She's always there with us.
By breed, she's a cattle dog. When we had cattle, I could tell her to go into the field and round up cattle, and she would bring the cattle here.
Wow.
She's very smart.
She's very smart.
But then when all the cattle, we sold the cattle, she didn't have a job to do. But these dogs, they're called red heelers, and they specialize in going and herding cattle.
So they can help you manage the farm.
Yes, she manages the farm.
She's a good worker.
Oh, yes.
You need to take care of her very
oh,
well.
Yeah. When we first came back, I was helping my father-in-law with the pigs. We had a big fattening floor, and we produced 700 pigs at a time. Every 5 months, we would get another 700 in. And so I was working as a cattle farmer. I had no idea from coming from Kenya what I was doing.
From ministering in Kenya, pastoring, to farming here?
To farming pigs.
Wow.
I was taking care of the pigs.
What a transition.
So,
that's daring, Pastor Del.
Yes.
That's daring.
So then when we got out of pigs, we got into cattle. And Suzanne says, "Do you know what you're doing?" And I said, "No, I don't. But I have neighbors." So I called Keith, I called all my other neighbors, and I said, "I'm a new farmer with cattle. What do I do?"
That transition was really hard. It really was, because at that point, as a family, we were Kenyans. You know, we lived that way, we cooked that way, and we had our friendships in that kind of community. Our kids, it was a big transition for them. The reason we came back in 2002 is actually because my folks were becoming elderly. And so we felt it our obligation to come back and care for them in their later years. They have both since passed, but it's been good for us to be here with our kids and get them established as families as well.
Texas is known for its cattle. Kansas is known for its wheat. Kansas is known as the breadbasket of the world because more wheat is actually grown here, here in this country.
Kansas is known for?
Wheat.
For wheat?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's the bread basket. It's considered the bread basket of the world because more wheat is grown in Kansas than any other state.
Than any other state in the U.S.?
Yes.
While you are busy in the farm, what does Suzanne now do ordinarily?
Well, Suzanne started a business a number of years ago called Quilted Zebra. And
what is that?
Quilted Zebra is her company of putting quilts together. Ladies back at the house, they will piece a piece of fabric with many fabrics together, and they'll make a top for a blanket.
First of all, Pastor Dale is still full-time with Africa Inland Mission. And he ministers to Africans living in Wichita area in any way he can. So, but I came home because of finances. One of us needed to work outside the mission organization. So I got different jobs at first, but then I started quilting and realized I could actually make a full-time salary working out of my basement.
Wow. So this is your studio?
This is my studio. So I'm a quilter. I don't actually make quilts for people, but I am a service. So I finish the quilts for other quilters. This is a Mennonite community, and traditionally all our Mennonite mothers made quilts. So it's it's a very old art, but we are renewing it.
My job in that thing is to deliver the quilts. So she puts them together, then she tells me on Tuesday or on Thursday or Friday, she said, take them to town, deliver to the customer. So I have to be on my best behavior.
And as we wind up, then what's your parting shot, Pastor Dale?
Time I was out in Kenya, the motivation for me was to work myself out of a job.
When you were in Kenya?
Yes, and that is to be training, teaching, training, and then eventually making it possible so I can step back and the work continues. That's one reason why I went to Turkana to this last time. I stepped back from Turkana, and what happened? Man, the church started to grow leaps and bounds, and that makes you happy. I trained pastors, and I was wondering, are these guys, are they going to go? And they took off. And that's working yourself out of a job. And so when we come here, it's been wonderful. I present the gospel. I give the word of God together with my pastor Miriam and other pastors, Pastor Matthew. We give the word of God, and we want to see people grow and branch out for themselves.
We have been very blessed to be able to do the things we love. Pastor loves to visit people. I mean, that's what motivates him, is to visit and help people. And I also just love doing what I do, but I also love to interact as well. Following your heart to do what you love. And if your heart is full of Jesus, then that's what you follow,
Too many people here get sidetracked. They come here, they say, well, okay, I'm going to be here for a while, and they pray. They go to church for 2 years because they prayed when they were back at the embassy, and now they've got to honor God by attending church, but then when the 2 years are finished, whoop, out of there.
That's the end of it.
And, no, I want people to get firmly grounded and get rooted in. And we find that the successful people that come here are ones that are rooted in the gospel. They're involved in their churches. They're involved in their communities, and they're growing. And God's going to bring them through.
Wow. Wow, that's how we enjoyed the countryside. Many thanks to Pastor Dale and Suzanne for hosting us at their home in Portwin, Kansas State. On that note, we come to the end of the show. Many thanks for watching.